Hi. Can you hear the rain and the birds? If you can't, then that's funny. Okay, I don't have a ton of time, but I really wanted to talk about manifestation. Naturally, I have lots of those videos that pop up on my feed, and I feel like there's something really important missing from them. Can you hear that? I hope you can hear that. Okay, so I feel like every manifestation video is like, all you gotta do is be what you want, right? You want to live in abundance, act like you already have it. Live as if you already have it. If that doesn't make sense to you, the way that that's like helped me understand has been that equivalent of when you're dating and you can tell that somebody wants something from you. That's a very different energy than somebody who's giving a lot or just like is a really like chill, loving, grounded person. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but when somebody really wants something from me, it like really repels me. So like a similar concept, right? So if we can move about in the world the way that as if we already have the things that we want, then we're more likely to attract that. And also, in the meantime, your experience is generally like more positive because you're not just living like the world just sucks all the time, right? I'm not saying it's not. I'm not arguing whether or not the world sucks. It's just, what does my internal world feel like? So the part that I keep thinking about is the fact that like is great and true, that manifestation and living the way you would be living as if you already had the thing is an excellent practice. But I so far haven't really found a lot of people that are talking about how to necessarily do that, especially like with a trauma-informed approach, because not only are we looking at humans who have had like diverse life experiences and have all of these narratives, but a lot of people have had trauma. So like trying to tell somebody who's like grown up in a really unsafe environment that the world is safe and so act that way is not going to make sense. You can't just tell the nervous system I'm safe after experiencing trauma. Like it actually has to like believe it. So I was even listening to a video today that was talking about how manifestation really only works when you be what you want. Right? Like you change your identity to identify with it. So then you're believing it on a root level. You're addressing things at the root of it. So that way you can live that way. But it still doesn't talk about how to do that. I don't have a ton of time, so I'm hoping I can cover enough in this video that at least you can take away something from it, so it's not just like a waste of time. There's no such thing as a waste of time. I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? There's always something to be learned. But I know that this topic is like way more than you can cover in like 20 minutes, right? So the most succinct way that I could explain this is the way that I've learned how to just be the way I want to be, like living in abundance and peace and being grounded, is like learning how to separate my internal experience as that being as there being like a me or like a true self or my dream self, the manifested self, and also whatever else is coming up for me. So for example, a lot of people will talk about scarcity and abundance being like their example for demonstrating these concepts. So like when you come up to these scenarios where naturally if you've been living in scarcity, like you're going to brush up against some narratives that are going to reinforce that, like checking out at the grocery store. I feel like that's like one of the like classic experiences of like anxiety when it comes to living in scarcity. Is you get up to the checkout and you're holding the card in your hand and you're like, okay, I'm pretty confident I calculated everything correctly. I'm pretty sure I have enough money in my account. If you've been there, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you know what I'm talking about. So the hard thing about being in those moments is like you have so fully identified with being poor, with living in like a scarce world, that it's hard to create some separation in there. So if you've had any practice, I think it's good to practice this like on a way smaller level, or even just like in a non-provocative situation. I mean, waiting until you're at the grocery store and you're trying to hustle through the line, you don't want to make people wait and whatever. That can be kind of a harder time to start practicing, like identifying what your self energy feels like, that manifested energy, the I'm already abundant and living my best life energy. Might be a little bit easier to try it in lower stakes settings, where there's nothing provoking you and you can just practice like what that energy feels like. I was just working with somebody today on how to like actually find that energy within them. And the way that we ended up finding how to help them do that was by encouraging them to think about the way that they feel towards like their best friend when their best friend's like having a hard time and looking for like that support and empathy. So like in those moments where you can be grounded and realize this is not my problem, that's somebody else's problem, right? So I can just be here and be comforting and listen and validate and offer some support. There might be other ways to identify this. This was just the first one that came to mind because I was just doing this a couple hours ago with somebody. So like practicing connecting with that self energy. We want to be grounded. We want to be calm, at peace. We want to be curious. We want to be compassionate. And once you know like what that feeling feels like, when you have those moments where the scarcity mindset comes up, there's plenty of videos that are going to talk about like building that awareness. And I'm sure I'm going to talk more about it too, but I just feel like there's enough of that out there that I'm finding, and I'm not finding the how yet. That's what I wanted to focus on. So once you have some awareness, okay, we're at the grocery store. This is a moment where I can have scarcity mindset. Do I grab that extra box of crackers or not? Am I checking my bank account again? Am I, how much anxiety am I feeling when I'm standing in the grocery line? Like, do I want to check my bank account again? Feeling nervous when you go to swipe your card at the checkout. Like those are the moments where we can like connect with our self energy. And I mean, in the early stages, you're just going to be noticing. It's going to take some time to like learn what necessarily you specifically need in those moments to help you feel okay. But even just creating that separation is like, leagues of progress to be making, because you went from, I fully believe this, to, oh, wait a second. There's part of me that believes that everything's okay. And there's part of me that believes that some things are not okay. Even just that little bit of separation is an incredible feat to celebrate. And we want to take it like a few steps further. We want to start using that like calm, curious, compassionate energy to start exploring what that experience is like for that scarcity part of us. That part of us that like has had cards decline like at the grocery checkout. What is that experience like? What does it feel like for that part of us to live that way? There's a lot of anxiety and exhaustion and fear and shame. Oh my gosh, there's so much shame that can come with that. Like self-imposed shame, or like the perceived shame that we think is coming from other people. Like helplessness. Like there's so many feelings that can come with that, right? And then like learning how to allow that to be there and to not cling to it, like not make it your identity, which that helps with the separation. We keep checking in. Okay, am I feeling still that like grounded self energy? And then what do we do with that? How do we take care of ourselves in those moments? Because just jumping right out and saying, no, I'm abundant, I've got this. Like, I mean, if you can believe it right off the bat, that's awesome and you don't need this. But if you're human and you're struggling to like redirect that ship, we're just looking for little increments of progress over time. So creating just that little moment, first is going to be that moment of awareness. Over time, eventually you're going to be able to start practicing, oh, I can notice a separate feeling in my body of calm, curious, compassionate. And taking it the steps further is like, okay, how do I take care of myself in these moments? And you don't have to have the magical answers. Honestly, most of the time, when I ask that part, which is really just ask myself, but ask that part, what do I need in this moment? An answer pretty much always immediately comes up. And some examples that I want to give, I think are important here. Like, if that part of you wants a hug, that might feel like, oh my gosh, but I don't have it. I don't know anybody. Nobody's here with me at the grocery store. I can't just ask the stranger next to me to hug me, right? Like, that's like, there's so much power in, so valid. And there's so much power in being able to visualize things within ourselves. So you can like literally imagine that part of you that's like scarcity, fearful, anxious part of you as a person. I always visualize it as my younger self because it makes it easier for me to want to help that younger version of me, or like a friend or a family member, somebody that you care about, that you actually want to like help, and you want them to be safe and feel good and stable and taken care of and all that. Whoever needs to visualize that, right? Like, you can imagine in yourself turning towards yourself and giving yourself a hug. And if you need extra reinforcement, just wrap your arms around your body. Nobody's gonna notice. It just looks like you're a person who really folds their arms. Can you see that? Who really folds their arms, right? And I know, because it is so simple, I know it sounds like it probably won't work for you. I think there's a lot of things, especially specifically in the scarcity mindset. I think that's honestly the example I was meant to use, because it's so prevalent, and it really wreaks havoc in so many subtle ways. And one of them being like, oh, that's not going to work for me. Or I've already tried that. Or something similar. I've tried something close enough to that. I know it's not going to work for me. That's already functioning from the scarcity mindset. That's assuming that like we have not grown, we have not changed, like that we are genuinely going to be incapable the rest of our lives, right? That there is no amount of help in this world that can actually help you. Can you hear that? Like, still coming from the scarcity, that no amount of help can help you. So if we can like regroup back to ourselves and like connect back with that grounded energy, that calm, curious, compassionate, that empathetic energy, and just try it. What do you have to lose? You know, worst case scenario, it really doesn't work. And then you're still in the same place. Best case scenario, it's exactly what you needed in that moment, right? This is, I've gone through a decade of therapy. Wait, let's check what time it is. Hold on. It doesn't actually tell me what time it is. It's been 13 minutes though. Okay, I got like 5 more minutes. What was I talking about? Oh, I remember. Dude, I went through like a decade of therapy. I've gone through different group therapies. I've had a couple different therapists, one of which I was with for like 5 years. I've tried multiple therapeutic modalities. I just kind of believed that I was a treatment resistant person, that I was like basically set up to forever feel not okay. Like, a good day for me was being like neutral, being mid. Dude, I feel like an old person trying to use like hip language when I say things like mid. Anyway, I really believed that because I had tried so much. I really was such an open person. I tried the medications, I tried the different modalities, I tried biofeedback and visualization and whatever. I was trying. I read all the books, I listened to all the podcasts. I was trying. And this was the first time when I discovered how to do this. This was the first time I felt noticeably different. I felt noticeably different. And when I was walking down the hill, because this is in my backyard, isn't that incredible? I'm so grateful. That wasn't meant to be like a brag. I just was, it is so beautiful. When I was walking down the hill to come down here, I was thinking about, oh gosh, I already lost my train of thought again. What was I thinking about when I was walking down here? Oh, the loophole to this. I stumbled across a loophole to this. That sometimes, because you can't like strong arm yourself into anything. If you've tried, you know how exhausting that is, okay? We can't do that all the time every day. That is way too much work to be putting in. That's why you're exhausted all the time. This won't work every time. I still really want to encourage at least a little bit of acknowledgement of what you're feeling and hopefully some validation. Like, yeah, okay, I can see why I'd be feeling anxious at the checkout because we've had that experience before where our card was declined. So at least give yourself one moment to be with the feeling, see where it is in your body. Heaviness in your chest, some light breathedness. I don't know the right term that I want to use there, but you get what I mean, you know. Be with it for a moment. Dude, 5 seconds, not even 5 seconds. Just give it 1 second. Acknowledge it. Where is it in my body? Second, validate it. Yeah, of course it makes sense. I'd be feeling that way. Of course, it makes sense. Then, the loophole that I accidentally found because of my mom is gratitude. Dude, for some reason, it just full 180 turns me around. And I need to preface this by saying, I grew up religious. I had the people who were preaching, you know, the gratitude journals and everything's fixed if you just have gratitude. I am not preaching that. I'm not preaching that. And if you are genuinely in such a deeply traumatized state, yeah, honestly, most of the time it probably won't work because you need like deep help, right? Yes, I'm acknowledging that. That's the disclaimer. But it's worth trying because we don't know how deep into this state that you are. It's worth trying out just a little bit of gratitude. It doesn't even have to be about the situation. We don't have to look for the silver lining. I always end up looking for the silver lining, but it doesn't always help me feel good. So sometimes we just need a quick little redirect. It's honestly, we're just big kids, okay? It's what you do with kids. They want something really bad. They won't get it off their mind. Like they keep bugging you about it. You just do a little redirect. Hey, look over here, right? We could do the same thing with gratitude. Like, I just look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful that I live in this beautiful place. Like, where there's green everywhere and stuff is covered in stuff. I wish you could see this branch that you're sitting on right now because it's covered in beautiful moss. I love moss. It's so pretty and it just grows on everything, even stuff it shouldn't be growing on, like walls and concrete and whatever, right? Dude, that brief moment, just that little window is what we're looking for. Just to give a little bit of space. And sometimes that can be just a quick moment of rest. And then we're right back to the worrying, right? Until we've like flexed the muscles enough to be able to actually step outside of this experience and move forward in a different way. But the hope is, as we flex those muscles and get better at being able to redirect, that gives us a little bit of space to then be able to say, oh, wait a second, this is my old mindset. I don't want to live in that anymore. I don't want to live in the anxiety anymore. I want to live differently. We can't just throw those feelings away. They don't just go away by ignoring them, right? We also don't want to feed into it. So we want to spend a little bit of time validating, right? Acknowledging what we're experiencing. And then see if that, dude, act like they're separate people. Have a conversation. Hey, I want us to be okay. I want us to feel okay for right now through this really rough experience that we're having. Is it okay if we redirect to something else? Are you open for that? And you'll find out Oh, it's just my dog. You'll find out that maybe that part of you is like, yeah, I also don't want to feel this way anymore. Or this part of you might say, no, I need more attention. I need help right now. We can't strong arm ourselves, right? The whole point of this video is I wanted to start a conversation on how to actually manifest. And for the people who have a lot of resistance to manifest, the thing that I'm starting to gather about it is really that it actually is, at a very minimum, makes your day-to-day life much more tolerable. Actually, I would argue even further than that. It makes it enjoyable. Like it can make your life enjoyable. If you're doing this, where you are actively trying to be the thing that you're manifesting, right? So if I can learn how to encompass peace, love, groundedness today, right now, and continue to choose that each and every day in as many moments as I can consciously choose to do that, then I'm gonna have more and more habits of doing that, especially in different contexts, because your old things are gonna pop up the moment that you're in a new social setting, and then you have that same anxiety like the first day of school, right? You know, so it's a continual process of redirection until we have the habits established, you know. Like I love the feel good of like, oh, all you have to do is manifest. All you have to do is just be the feeling. I like that, but I'm starting to have issues with those videos because I'm like, but nobody's really talking about how to get there. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all expert here. I'm sure there's a lot of things that I don't know. I don't want to say I'm sure. I know for a fact there's a lot of things that I don't know. But this is what I figured out so far. Because I went from being, okay, I don't want to get in trouble. I want to use words that are safe to use on the internet. I was so depressed, I did not want to see tomorrow. I was just riddled with anxiety, and I was exhausted and depressed and beat down by these experiences, by my internal world. I struggled to live within myself. And I figured out how to like find peace and calm and hope. Oh my gosh, hope. What a beautiful feeling. Especially for feeling hopeless so long, you know? So I thought, oh my gosh, I keep thinking about this over and over. Like, yeah, this manifesting is great and all, but like, we need to talk more in depth about how we're doing it, how we're actually getting there, like what in those day-to-day moments, how are we approaching it so we know how to handle it in that moment. Yeah, of course I want to be able to walk into a scarcity moment and say, yeah, I'm abundant and everything's fine, right? But there's more to it than that. And if it's that easy for you, then great. That's not the video that you need. But I needed a video like this a few months ago. I just was fortunate enough to be stubborn that I wanted to figure out how to feel better, and so I did. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. I still have... There's a good gust of wind there. I still have plenty of difficult days. I won't even call them full days, because now it's more like difficult moments, or a difficult hour or two, or a difficult evening, when before I would have difficult days or weeks, right? That's all we're trying to get to, is like get to a point where we feel more and more okay. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people do that. And I don't even fully know how I'm meant to help people do that, but I want to. So this is where I'm starting, is right here in these stinking trees that I love. Talking to my dang phone, hoping that the people that need to see this are going to be able to see it. Okay? I'm trying to not get lost in the sauce of the algorithm or whatever, because it's going to find the people it's meant to find, no matter how perfect something is. So I don't need it to be perfect. I just want to show up and be able to like share these important things. I want to help people. I want to help people so much, and I want to keep talking about like the things I've learned that hopefully it can help people. If you're somebody who's struggling with these things, if you're somebody who has done all the therapy, or is there such a thing as doing all the therapy? But you get what I mean. Has done lots of therapy and is not feeling better, drop me a comment. Let's have a conversation. I want to see if I can figure out how to help you. I'm doing it donation based, so this is not a sales pitch, okay? If you are genuinely not able to donate anything right now, that's okay. I'm just trying to help people. If you're able to donate, super appreciate it. I'm very grateful for the people who have donated, because they're helping ensure that I have the time and capacity to be able to do this, to allocate this time to helping people, which is incredible. So it's not a sales pitch. I want to help you. So drop a comment. And if you have extra to give, drop it in a comment. Some encouraging words, some love, some gratitude. Tell me what you're feeling grateful for today. Even if it's your hot cup of coffee that you're drinking, watching this over breakfast, you know. I don't know, guys. I know it's hard right now. I want to do everything I can to help equip you the way that I've started to learn how to equip myself. And I want to be a cheerleader. Oh my gosh, you're doing such a good job. The world is crazy right now, and things have been hard, and there's so many things I know that are going on in your life that I don't even know about, that are just hard. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that things have been hard. I wish I could help carry more of that. I hope that something in my videos can help do that. And I want to send you off with like so much love. Like, I'm so proud of you for just showing up and for being here and being open to watch my videos, being open to learning a different way of living and trying to help yourself. Like, that says so much. It shows how much hope and bravery and vulnerability and love that you have. Like, that's just incredible. I want to send you a really big hug. And you don't have to receive it. You never have to receive my hugs. I just send them in case you do want them, because I love you and I want to be here. Okay, it's starting to rain harder and I have to go. I have a meeting in 25 minutes, so I need to run back inside and get ready and hop in my car. But I love you so much, and I'm gonna be back soon, so I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.